Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys, we're going to be profiling my friend's EXODIA deck. Now this EXODIA deck is one, okay, I've seen Draw EXODIA, I've seen EXODIA with the new support, with Obliterate and everything. I have not seen an EXODIA of this build in probably the last 8 years of my life. Enjoy. Let this man take over.
Alright, well first of all, obviously, you know, playing the best card, the win condition.
So 5 pieces of EXODIA.
There's no other way to win with this deck. I mean, that's not true. There is one other way to win with this deck. And you'll see in a moment. The best card in the deck.
This.
Appropriate.
Appropriate EXODIA. Will.
So what this card does is you activate it when your opponent draws a card outside of their draw phase. And then for the rest of the duels, as long as this card fits from the field, every time your opponent draws a card, you draw 2 cards.
Coonery.
It is definitely coonery. So then basically the rest of the deck is about drawing cards so you can summon a bunch of stuff so you can get your EXODIA. Play 2 copies of Chainsaw Insect, because every time this bad card battles, after damage step, your opponent draws a card. So with Appropriate, it's just straight draws. I mean, it's got big attack.
I'll turn, hang on.
2 copies of Silent Wabi. This card is hilarious when you've got your Appropriate combo already rolling because you give it to your opponent. You draw a card, you gain 2,000 life points, and then basically what happens is your opponent's hand limit becomes 3. So at the end of their turn, after you've made them draw all these cards, they have to discard down to 3.
Looks old though.
2 copies of Santa Claus. It's basically a kaiju that gives your opponent the option to draw. And most opponents are going to get to take the free card, like, oh yeah, I'm going to draw. And then you activate Appropriate and they feel silly. Card, because you need to draw and your normal summon's not that important in this deck.
You should know, Kevin, keep dick picking.
Defender, for a couple of reasons. 1, because it can make your opponent draw. 2, because it's got a big butt and help you stay alive because this deck plays like negative defense.
Oh my god.
And then on top of that, it combos well with another card in the deck, which we'll get to in a second.
Where's that mass change? Is mass change second now?
3 copies of Magical Mallet, because we're trying to get to Appropriate as fast as possible.
Agreed.
Should have been playing that Dark Law.
2 copies of Hand Instruction, because we're trying to get to Appropriate as fast as possible. And also, it works as a draw 4 if you have Appropriate, because you discard 2, you'll draw 2 off of Hand Instruction, then your opponent do the same. And then you draw another 2 off
I gotcha.
So the draw 4 off Appropriate.
Oh my gosh.
2 copies of Cup Vase, because it's a guaranteed draw 2 no matter what, as long as you have Appropriate. You flip the coin, just like, if you flip the coin, it's if your opponent's going to draw pretty much, because you're going to draw no matter what.
You're going to draw or they're going to draw?
Yeah. 2 copies of Dark Factory, because you can discard pieces of EXODIA off of Hand Instruction and then add them back later. So you just get free draws off of it.
Chain DD Crow.
Chain DD Crow.
Hey, DD Crow's in my side. It's Hate Counter Spiral and Dino.
2 Book of Eclipse to help you survive. And also because if you Appropriate, it forces your opponent to draw. So you draw cards off of this.
Gosh.
I got savaged by that card just yesterday.
1 day, because it's, you know.
1 day apiece.
1 day apiece. I mean, you helps you survive longer, and with Appropriate, you draw 3.
Book of Eclipse.
Where's the Upstart Goblet? I did not see that though.
Don't play it. Don't need it.
Don't need
Don't
it?
need
Not
it.
enough, you don't need it.
The funniest card in the deck.
Now explain what this card does.
DNA checkup. Okay, so basically what it does is you select 1 face down card on your side of the field. And then basically your opponent has to guess the attribute of that card. They get 2 guesses. If they guess it right, and then there are 2 guesses, they draw 2 cards. If they guess it wrong, you draw 2 cards. But if you have Appropriate,
it don't matter.
You're drawing either way. So just like they're just guessing to see if they draw.
Oh my gosh.
The only kind of defensive cards we have, Grand Horn, because it makes your opponent draw and it's not special summons.
And it makes them waste their battle phase.
And it forces them straight into battle phase.
Yep.
Or if they're in main phase 2, in phase.
Oh my gosh.
Dank Bribe, because take your penny.
And then you draw.
They draw, and then I'll draw with Appropriate.
Oh my gosh.
Compulse, because every once in a while you have to like set an EXODIA piece to work out and play a
so it's sometimes good to just
bounce it back.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah. The funniest card in the deck. I really wish I could play more copies of this, but it's like, if you don't have Appropriate, it's so bad.
So what's the purpose of this with Appropriate? You give them life points and then you draw with Appropriate?
Oh no, that's not what present card does.
Well,
I think you're thinking of gift card.
I mean, gift card. Oh, gift card's the draw card. Present card's the draw card.
Basically, what happens is your opponent discards their entire hand, and then they draw 5 cards. But with Appropriate, you draw 2 off of that, and you can make them like disrupt their plays. Like they search their most important card.
Too long.
They search their most important card. They're like, oh yeah, activate such and such, and search this.
Present card.
Cool. Present card discarded. Draw 2 cards. Now I'll draw 2. Thanks. And then pot of greed.
The best card. What does this card do?
Gift of greed. Your opponent draws 2 cards.
No, it's better than pot of greed. Pot of greed allows you to draw 2 cards. The gift of greed allows you to draw.
It lets your opponent draw 2 cards. Like, it's so ridiculous. Just watch your opponent freaking flip out this deck. Like, when you activate Appropriate, your opponent feels so bad because they're losing, but they're drawing all these cards.
Oh my gosh.
It's so hilarious.
And now you were mentioning how like we were playing this deck a while ago, and you actually were doing good at regional.
Yeah, I actually topped a regional with this deck. It was really bad. But I opened up Appropriate like over half the time. It was just super lucky that day. Some days you just get
funny.
Sometimes you just get hot and you just catch all the freaking luck. And I just couldn't open Appropriate. I mean, the best cards in the deck are obviously Appropriate because the combos are ridiculous. Like everything in the deck combos with Appropriate in some way and helps you draw a bunch of cards. And then my favorite card to have with Appropriate is probably either Present card, because I mean,
it's Present card.
It's basically Mind Crush without having to Mind Crush. And then Magical Mallet is probably one of the favorite cards in the deck because late in the game when you're fishing for Exodia pieces and you're trying to find the pieces, you just
you Magical Mallets are just like
because you've drawn 40 cards. So there's only 2 win conditions with this deck. I'm only one with this deck 2 different ways. The 2 win conditions are either to obviously get Exodia, that's the obvious one. But the other one that people never expect is you make them deck out.
Really?
The whole DD Crow thing doesn't exactly work.
So you actually are able to deck them out?
Oh yeah, because you're making them draw all these cards. Like there's so much draw power in this deck for your opponent that you can deck them out.
So that was the other win condition.
That's the other win condition. You deck out your opponent before they can beat you.
So this is kind of like deck out Exodia.
It's like deck out Exodia because you have 2 options. You can either win by drawing Exodia, but if you can't see Appropriate, you just feed your opponent cards and play defensive, basically play the Grand Horns, the Dark Bribes, the Book of Eclipses, sit on Defender's Big Butt, freaking use Chainsaw Insect to get rid of semi-big monsters. You can stop them from putting you away for extended periods of time until they're forced to just deck out.
So what other like cards have you tried out in the deck just to like see if they work or not? Just
I mean, I've tried obviously just pure draw cards that work with Exodia. Like I've tried Pot of Desires, but I mean you hit Appropriate too much.
Gotcha.
But there's tons of cards that you can play that work with this deck. I've worked out I played Slash Draw on this deck for a while.
You did?
Yeah, just to try it out to see if you could draw a bunch of cards or mill a bunch of cards and then like add the Exodia pieces back.
Yep.
Because I mean, because you put them back in the deck anyway if you don't freaking hit Slash Draw.
Slash Draw.
So it's good for when your opponent goes off because I mean, like I said, this deck doesn't really do much to stop your opponent from playing Yu-Gi-Oh. It's like I call it the most fair deck of all time. I'm literally giving my opponent their entire deck. What could be more fair?
It's a present card.
It's a present deck.
It's a present deck.
Literally, I'm giving my opponent their entire deck. They have access to every card they could possibly want. Beat me with them.
That's too funny.
It's the funniest thing in the world, and it's so bad because if you don't open Appropriate, you're just sitting there just like, oh no.
Is there any other way that you try to figure a way to like get to Appropriate besides drawing it?
I thought about playing Left Arm
or Gold Sark too, but that takes
Gold Sark.
Yeah.
Gold Sark takes 2 turns, which I mean, Gold Sark could work. And I thought about it, but it's like taking away other cards that could slow your opponent down and stop.
Yeah.
And I thought about running a Left Arm, but the problem is that if you have the Left Arm with like a piece in your hand, you're pretty much just SOL. Left Arm.
That's true, and even if you don't have the
because the win condition is literally Exodia. So if you have the Left Arm trying to get to Appropriate and you have a piece in your hand, you kind of got to set it. And if you have to set it, that's bad news.
That's bad.
I mean, because you can draw. If you can get it, you can draw into something like what's it called?
Solid Wabi, I think you were telling me.
Yeah, Wabi, or there's a bunch of things you can do with it. But the problem with it is that when you Left Arm, you can't set anything for the rest of that turn. So you can't set any spell cards. Or you can't set cards for that turn. You have to Left Arm offering. So if you open up a hand with a bunch of traps and Left Arm, you basically have to throw those traps away. So when you get Appropriate, you have no ways to activate it and get it going. So Left Arm didn't work out too well. I tried it for a while. It didn't end up working the combos well. This is just the most consistent way to get it. I'd say I Exodia my opponents like half the time.
Really?
Like half the time, 50%? Yeah. Easy.
50%?
Easy 50%.
Oh my
Either
gosh,
position.
that's too funny.
It's super consistent. And the face, when you know, my grandfather's deck has no rotated cards.
And then you draw Exodia. Oh my gosh.
It just has the unstoppable Exodia. It obliterates.
Well, thank you so much, man. I mean,
man.
thank you. So next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you next time.
Nights, long fights, it felt right.